fellow patriots, welcome to Hope for Survival YouTube. Thanks for joining in. I want to welcome all the new HFS YouTube subscribers. Thanks for subscribing and joining in with us on this journey to the unknown. You're much appreciated. This video will be news break number 4. I'll try to fit everything in to keep the video relatively in a time frame that's not too long. There's a lot of news out there. So I look at global events, national events, and try to pick out what I think is potentially the most impacting to us with the cause and effect application. What is the cause and how could it affect us? So let me get started. The first item up, I came across a couple articles that are talking about healthcare. More than 70% of Americans feel failed by the healthcare system. I read and see on other podcast reports where citizens are going in for maybe a outpatient day surgery, and their insurance is declining payment, and for individuals to get the procedures performed, they're having to pay 100% of the cost out of pocket up front. How many people do you know who could just fork out several $1,000s on the spot? In my past experiences, before you even go for a procedure, the medical institution that's providing the service confirms through your insurance company that they will pay for X% of the procedure, if not all of the procedure. So this is something to keep in the back of your mind, and why it's so important to do your best to get exercise, eat healthy, get rest, and keep yourself as healthy as possible, because this topic is trending more negative than it being fixed. I'm coming across a lot of chatter and articles which is making its way on the podcast in reference to April 8th, the solar eclipse of several states that are warning about the sudden weather changes, maps showing warnings for people to stock up on food ahead of the solar eclipse. Some of them are saying stock up on food, water, and gasoline. And there's some reports of the potential for cell phone interruptions. The cell phone interruptions I can understand a little bit, but I find it really odd that they're recommending people stock up on food and water for a solar eclipse, which leads me to wonder if there's more behind this than the article heading, meaning could the actual natural event, the solar eclipse, be used to spark or launch another event or series of events and blame it on the solar eclipse? So make sure you're prepared for the event of anything that may come out of left field on or around the 8th of April. Always alert, always prepared. We got another alert out. Potential cyber attacks are targeting U.S. water systems, warns the EPA and the White House. So over the last 90 to 120 days, we've had warnings of potential terrorist attacks on domestic soil, cyber attacks on U.S. infrastructure, and so forth. And now cyber attacks targeting the water systems. I know the majority of people are dependent upon supplied water through the water system of your municipality. This is why, though, it's so important to have the understanding and skills to clean water and make it usable in the event of something like this happening. You can find steps on how to cleanse water on the hopeforsurvival.com website. Just go back through the weekly news articles, and you will find under preparedness on one of them how to go about cleaning water. 1 is none, 2 is 1, and 3 is better, meaning always have a backup plan to your primary at a minimum, and if possible a secondary backup as well. Biden finalizes crackdown on gas cars, forcing more than half of new car sales to be electric by the year 2030. That seems like a long time off, 5.5 years. But in order to achieve that goal, 2030, I wonder if that's in line with Agenda 2030. In order to achieve that, you're going to have massive infrastructure changes across the country. I still stand by the fact I firmly believe that the U.S. grid is not capable of supporting a move to achieve this goal for electric cars on the highway. So those who cannot afford electric cars, you're going to be forced to public transportation. You're going to pay outrageous prices for petrol for a gasoline vehicle, and you're probably going to pay much higher taxes, find it harder to find spare parts, tires, batteries, and so forth. They're basically going to cost you out of using a petrol-fueled automobile for transportation, and you're going to have to endure exorbitant prices to go electric. Next, there's numerous articles in the last week. Undocumented immigrants have the right to own guns, the judge rules. This was a judge who was appointed under the Obama administration, and the judge is out of Illinois. Folks, this is a game changer. I want anyone who has gone and purchased a firearm, you may remember the paperwork that you have to fill out, and one of the blocks on there is, are you a U.S. citizen? And they often hint to you when filling out the paperwork, you want to make sure you mark the right block on certain questions, or it's going to cause you problems getting your paperwork through. And that question dealt with citizenship. So now all of a sudden, you're going to have hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of non-citizens bearing the right to purchase firearms throughout the country. You think the dark streets and dark alleys of Chicago is bad? You look at the number of individuals who are coming from third world countries where the rule of law is basically ruthlessness and gangs. This is not going to have a good ending to the story. You need to keep this in mind in your communities and every time you go out of your home. Okay? With all the wars and rumors of wars going on around the world, something that is trending and it's not getting a lot of publicity, but that is the countries that are south of our southern border. how the governments within the countries are changing, or they're crumbling, or leaders are being forced out to get in line with the growing world ideology, which is not in our favor. Okay. Protests erupt in Cuba amid shortages of food and electricity. I realize Cuba is no longer under the iron fist of Fidel Castro, but the fact that there are riots and protests taking place in Cuba is a bit surprising, because the rule of law there has remained in power pretty much with the iron fist, crackdown on the citizens. They live back in time, 1950s, 1960s style lifestyle with controlled, limited resources available. But they're enduring rolling blackouts, food shortages, amongst other problems there. Haitians flee a nation nearing collapse. No offense to anyone from Haiti, but Haiti, for the most part, a beautiful country, but Haiti has been a cesspool for many years. The rich and elite attached to the government, they have lived an exorbitant lifestyle while their people wade through raw sewage draining in the streets. They suffer for food, they suffer for health care, they suffer for any normalcy to an average life. Haiti is collapsing, and people are fleeing. So you have people fleeing Cuba, you have people fleeing Haiti. Venezuela protests and economic crisis. What is going on? This is ongoing for a petro-rich nation. Again, you have the elites who live an elite lifestyle, while the poor are forced into a slave labor type environment to go work so many hours a week, growing gardens to feed the masses. Life in Venezuela is not good, and it's getting worse. And hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans have been and continue fleeing Venezuela to come to the United States, to include them releasing their most violent criminals from prison so they don't have to feed them, and they are sending them towards the United States. President Maduro continues again to rule with an iron fist, and he the alternative to the crackdowns is for the people to flee and leave. Okay. Why am I pulling these out for news? Here's another article. Brazil farmer bankruptcy filings worry global grain traders. If you have followed south of our border over the last 10 years, there is again a communist influence that is filtering back into the countries that went away from communism back around the time the Soviet Union collapsed, and during the Reagan era, when there was hundreds of millions of dollars being funneled into these countries to try to get them out of a third world lifestyle. But that influence is back again from the communist perspective, and most often the citizens of the country, all they want is food and water for their families, and what type of government they have often is not a priority. So they often don't get a choice in these conversions from either communist to or from communism. The reason I'm bringing these topics up is that they're all south of our border, and when you have these type of issues within a country, the people flee, and this has contributed and will continue contributing to the massive migration coming to the United States. So we're basically inheriting many of their problems there that are coming here, and you're now going to have it now being legal that these citizens can buy firearms in our country. It's not all, but it's apparent from seeing what's trending in America that our justice system is catering to them. Our government is giving them thousands of dollars, and when they're breaking laws, they're often misdemeanors and they're released back on the streets. One of the big issues, aside from the whole they're not being vetted, the crime that comes with them, the medical side of it, coming into our schools. We're seeing increases in measles cases and other diseases popping up around the United States. The big thing here is right now, I believe the number was 34, 36. We now have the volume and number of individuals who have migrated to the United States, if placed in one location, would be bigger than 34 or 36 of the states in America. Do you see this picture? And what is happening? If you've been in Hope for Survival for any time frame, one of the things I've talked about the last couple of years is the future of the internet and how there will be a global internet police that is going to crack down on hate speech, hate language. If you're not in the ideology of the global elite or your national elite, you could face imprisonment. This is gaining traction around the U.S. You may have followed over the last months what's been going on in Ireland. Interestingly, our president recently visited Ireland, and just a short period after he departed, it was a shock, but the Irish Prime Minister resigned. That was a huge surprise. So after his resignation, an official in Ireland came out and stated that Irish people could be jailed for hate speech. Critics of the opposed law warn. It's already happened. There's already individuals who have been speaking out, to include a visitor to Ireland who was in the country and posted what was deemed hate speech towards the Irish government on the internet, and was arrested and detained awaiting trial. Scotland to launch new hate speech law on April Fool's Day that will jail people for up to 7 years. Folks, this all falls in line with the movement towards Agenda 2030. It falls in line again with the internet policing. You are in line with the ideology of the global elite movement. You will have social credit scoring. and basically not only the person who makes the comment through email, text, internet blog, whatever it may be, anyone attached, say if I send an email out with opposition to ideology and I copy 10 people on it, if the 10 people don't turn me in, then they're going to receive the same punishment as the person who made the post. This next topic is sensitive. It's being ignored in most areas, most platforms. Our Justice Department is ignoring it. Police departments are being forced to ignore it. And that is the crimes on the street against white people. There's several articles out on alternative media and videos that have been captured showing white citizens walking on a street and gangs of youth coming up from behind them, circling them, and then pummeling them, beating them with their fists, beating them with bats, weapons, and it's blatant hate. It is a separation again of human decency in respect to others. But this is what is being taught on the streets. Point being, we can talk about it all day long. The reason I'm sharing it with you is that you need to be cautious everywhere you go. Don't allow, even a lot of these folks are randomly in parks. They're out for walks, and they're being just randomly targeted. Maybe in a mall parking lot, grocery store parking lot, wherever it may be. It doesn't matter. You need to be alert to your surroundings. If you can, go in pairs of 2 and have a way to protect yourself. Okay? I'll leave it at that. Okay? It's absolute nonsense, but the point is, it doesn't matter what it is when it has happened to you. Okay? When you are the victim. Because the system is not going to punish or do anything about it. You have youth recording videos while they're beating these individuals, sometimes to death, and then they post these videos out on the net. That's how most people are finding out about it, because the media is not covering it and the government is not doing anything about it. You may have noticed there is also a certain sect of the music world has, over the last 20 years, has often talked about hating on police and beating police and killing police, and talking about white privilege, white elite. There's even a movie that came out recently. It was a new film calling white people the most dangerous animal on the planet. Fortunately, it bombed at the box office. There's other movies that are coming out. There's videos out. It's an ideology that is educating the uneducated who won't take the time to read or listen to logic. Okay? But it's driving a wedge between groups of people in our society. All right? This is a bad thing. There has been professors who have been suspended with pay for making comments in the classroom, forcing children to denounce their skin color. Recently, a employee of the World Health Organization came out and made a comment that all white people in leadership positions should be fired. Folks, this all falls in the DEI bucket, the diversity, equality, inclusion. It's real. It's happening all over, and it's outside of my bucket and most of your buckets. What I'm saying to you is, it's not about hating on other people. It is protecting yourself and being smart about what you do, where you go, having protection, and don't set yourself up, meaning don't go places you probably shouldn't go. If you can, don't be alone. And always have a backup plan that you can back out of where you're at. Not back your car out, but you back you out to where you go, okay? Do your best to protect yourself, all right? So that is what I have in the news. There's a ton more that I could have, but it takes a lot of time to cover these things. I'm sure you're picking up on them. But keep your head on a swivel, stay safe, keep preparing, keep doing the great things that you're doing. But so much of what we're living through right now is psychological control, and you got to keep your feet grounded, stay smart, and don't be drug into this division that's taking place. The same thing is happening on a spiritual realm, and it's also happening on a physical realm here on Earth and in our country and many places around the world. Okay, so keep your head up, think positive, keep your feet grounded, always have hope, and don't forget to count your blessings. And if you like this video, please hit like. If you have any comments, please comment below. And if you have anyone with like interests, please share. And if you have not subscribed, please consider doing so. And until your next video, stay safe out there, and above all, don't forget to give thanks. Have a great weekend. Bravo Echo out.